So there is, before I start third chapter, there's a point to be mentioned that there's another system of reading this book, which is section-wise. You divide into sections, and then you read this book. But the point is, that takes a lot of time. And you're so overwhelmed by information that you don't understand. You forget the sequence. There's so much information. Forget the main points. So what I'm doing is, I'm just giving you the main points, which is worth remembering.
Yes.
And then you can develop on your own. Doesn't matter whether you know so much or not. What is required in life, what will help you in realization, that matters. And another point is, other systems of teaching, they also take instruction. They also take teachings of acharyas, previous acharyas, when they give course. The Vishwanath, Baladev, Vidyabhushan, and all those. But the point is, I am just taking to Prabhupada.
To start conference recording, press 1. To return to the conference.
And because if you don't stick to Prabhupada, and if you go to previous acharyas, you can get confused.
Right.
It's very difficult to understand so many things. So it's important to understand that we are speaking from Prabhupada purports. And in fact, if Prabhupada knows, I mean, Prabhupada would have also read, all those commentaries. Vishwanath, Baldev. Prabhupada has read. Prabhupada dedicates this Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidyabhushan commentary. Mm-hmm. And he also read Bhaktivedanta Thakur commentary in second chapter, last purport. Prabhupada writes about Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Yes, I'll show you here. You see here. Second chapter, last verse you see. This is second chapter, 72 verse. People who are listening, they can open their Gita, and you see the last verse. Purport to last verse. It's 272. Purport.
Here?
Purport. No, not translation.
This one.
Yeah, purport. Last verse, purport. Purport, last verse.
Oh, last. Okay.
Sri Bhaktivedanta Thakur has summarized the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita as being contents of whole text. See? So Prabhupada has also read Bhaktivedanta Thakur commentary.
Yes.
See, it is there. But even though reading all those commentaries, Prabhupada has written in a unique way. He has put out all the complex things, and he has done simple for us. Now, he knows what is good for us, what is not good for us. So, either you can take all those commentaries and put it in your course, and then put a course like that, which is usually done. Or, you can just stick to Prabhupada commentary, because Prabhupada has already read, he has given us a summation. So, it's good to read, because otherwise it becomes very difficult. Otherwise, there is something called yoga ladder. Sakam karm, nishkam karm, Gyan Yog, Dhyan Yog, Bhakti Yog. This, everything is there, but Prabhupada doesn't take Bhagavad Gita like that. Prabhupada has a different take, which can change your life. He's Acharya, That is why it's good to stick to Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So, many people can say many things, but what we are reading the system, this is good and easy and comprehensive system. So that's one point I wanted to make. And just to recap, first chapter what we discussed, observing the armies, So observing is a main word. The 3 questions we discussed there. Second chapter we discussed about 3 things. 2. That is two reasons why Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And then 2 strategies which Krishna is giving, how to serve him, and then 2 symptoms of a person who is fixed in consciousness. That's how you can remember 2.
Right. Chapter 2.
Yeah, that's what. And chapter 1, 3 questions. Simple. That gives you an overview. Okay, so now we come to third chapter.
Prabhuji, what was the first two? Sorry, I missed it.
And
मेरे पास है Prabhuji. Krishna can dissipate the lamentation. Oh, two reasons.
two reasons.
I'll give you all the two.
So, third chapter is Karma Yoga. Is it?
Yes.
Now Arjuna asks a question. Now second chapter, what we discussed, two strategies which Krishna was telling, no?
Right.
Two strategies to come to platform of self-realization, hai na? And the strategy is what? To work without attachment to fruits and to be firmly fixed in the conception of real self. That's the second chapter, first verse, Prabhupada. That is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So, on one hand, Krishna is saying you act for me, Karma Yoga, without attachment to results. On one hand, Krishna is saying you be firmly fixed in the conception of real self. Now Arjuna gets a confusion here. Arjuna says, now you read first verse of this chapter. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshav, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So Arjuna is confused. Should I act or should I be firmly fixed in the self? Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga? What is better? Should I try to understand you? Jnana Yoga means should I try to understand you and my soul? First, should I take knowledge? Should I take classes? Go to forest? Read? Or should I act for you? Act for you means you are asking me to fight? So what should I do? You can't do both things, no? If you fight, you can't read. You're tired. Is it? You're doing your jobs, you're tired in the evening, you can't read. So it's impractical. So Arjuna is thinking from a practical point of view, what should I do first? Knowledge or action? That's the point. Knowledge or action. So, what does Krishna say? Krishna says action precedes knowledge. Not knowledge precedes action. It is, we might intuitively think the opposite, no? Knowledge should precede action, no? That's what Arjuna was thinking. I should go to forest, meditate, this war, okay, even if you want this war, let me just go and sit in forest and first learn about you, meditate, and then we can do other things. But no, that is beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is telling action precedes knowledge. So action helps to mature knowledge into realization.
Okay.
That is action. That is Karma Yoga. See, if you don't act, then how do you mature knowledge to realization? It's simple to understand. You have theory. In schools you have theory and laboratory.
Right.
Lab. So why do you need lab?
Perfect the knowledge. Perfect the theory.
Yeah, to perfect theory, to change theory into practical knowledge, no? Without lab you can't do that. What is lab? Lab is this material world.
Right.
And the experiments you are doing there, that's Karma Yoga. No, we are doing actions for Krishna. We are getting many experiences from this big laboratory. This is big laboratory. And you are doing some actions. And then you get some results. Is it?
Right.
That's Karma Yoga, simple. You get experiences, you get realization. So second chapter, Krishna gives a little preliminary knowledge, no? Some knowledge he has given of soul. I mean to say, you can't go to lab without any knowledge. Some knowledge you need, then you go to lab, then do experiments, then you get some results, and then when you get some results, that teacher explains you, then you come back again to theory class, then it builds up. So Krishna gives a preamble, no? What is soul? In brief. And then he says, okay, now it's sufficient preliminary knowledge, now you do action. You act for me. When you act for me, your heart becomes pure. When your heart becomes pure, then you will be able to understand higher knowledge. Otherwise you can't understand, you will be confused. You get contradictions. If heart is impure and you take knowledge, you will end up in contradictions, 100%. So that's why many devotees, they read Acharya's books. See? Vaishnava Sampradaya, Ramanuja, Madhva, there's so many. But they end up in contradictions because many Acharyas are saying many different things. From different, it might seem as different things, but it's not different. Because our heart is not pure, so we can't harmonize those things. So new devotees, they get confused and then they go here, there, here, there, here. That is why it's good to stick to Prabhupada books first. And Prabhupada books are special. Prabhupada books are always focusing on Karma Yoga, no? Work for Krishna. Serve Him. Always He is saying, serve Him, work. Prabhupada said, work now, Samadhi later. Keep on working. Afterwards we'll see knowledge. And that's something practical. And Prabhupada's God brothers, Gaudiya Math, they told, no, read Acharya commentaries and all those. And most of them couldn't do anything for Krishna, no? Prabhupada did. And Prabhupada's movement made pure devotees. Their endeavors didn't make pure devotees. Because they couldn't understand Gita. So Gita is important. If you don't understand Gita, then you miss the foundation. That is why 3rd chapter is Karma Yoga. And 4th chapter is Jnana Yoga. Then comes knowledge. You see, action precedes knowledge. Okay, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. That's why Krishna is now taking this chapter of Karma Yoga. Okay, now another thing is, Prabhupada translates Karma Yoga as devotional service. That's unique. So you see 3rd shloka of this chapter. 3rd shloka. What is this? Loke asmin duvidha nishtha pura prokta maya anaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Now what does Prabhupada translates karma yoga as? See word to word meaning. Karma yogena. Karma yogena is translated as process of devotion. See. Any other commentary, any other book you find in this word, they will not translate karma yoga as devotion. Karma yoga is different, Jnana yoga is different, Bhakti yoga is different. If you go to Chinmay mission, I went there, I lived in Rishikesh. And they say morning we do Jnana yoga, afternoon Karma yoga, evening Bhakti yoga. They say like that. So it's a different take. But why Prabhupada is doing like this? And many scholars actually criticize Prabhupada. That Prabhupada has translated everything devotional service. What is this? But actually Prabhupada knows what he is doing. And you see here, you come to this verse, 2nd chapter, and
2nd chapter?
Oh, sorry. Third chapter, 16th verse. Just open that. I'll show you why Prabhupada is translating Karma Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. He is giving the reason. 3rd shloka, 16th chapter. Now before I read this verse, purport, I have to tell you a few things. That Karma Yoga is of... Okay, let's read it. Then I'll tell you. Okay, fine. You can... do you find in 3rd chapter 16th verse, purport, do you find this line, those who are not Krishna conscious? In between, purport, in between.
Yes.
Those who are not Krishna conscious. Right in the middle, you have this line.
Yeah, I got it.
So people who are hearing, they can open Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 16th verse, purport, and in between you have a line, those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness, therefore they need to execute pious work. Is it? The yajna system is planned in such a way that sensory conscious person may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in reaction of sense gratificatory work. See? Okay. So karma yoga, this is one form of karma yoga. Karma means action. Yoga means linking. What is yajna? You are doing something for God. Where it is mentioned in Vedas. So Vedas are instructions of God. So you are linking with the instructions of God. Is it? You are doing yajna to fulfill some of your desires. But because you are performing action according to instructions of Lord, you will fulfill your desires without incurring sinful reactions. Because if you fulfill your desires without the instructions of God in normal materialistic way, then you will implicate yourself in sinful reactions. Is it?
Okay, got it.
But if you go according to the system of Krishna, yajna, then you fulfill desires without sinful reactions. See? So that is one form of karma yoga. Action, yoga means linking with yajna to Krishna. So, but that form of karma yoga is impure because there are desires. Desires. So there is one form of karma yoga which is called as impure karma yoga. Is it? Why impure? Because you have desires. But why karma yoga? Because you are doing action according to the instructions of Krishna. Yoga, you linked with Krishna. Is it? Simple? That is karma yoga. There is something called karma. Karma means ordinary actions, which has nothing to do with yoga. Yoga, they are not linked to Krishna, no? So materialistic persons do karma. You got my point? Yeah. Materialistic persons are doing karma. They are not doing karma yoga. They are doing karma. They are trying to fulfill their desires without the guidance of Krishna. And that's why they will be implicated in sinful reactions. Okay? That is karma. Then comes karma yoga, impure karma yoga, which means that you are doing yajna system, which is planned by Krishna. You may satisfy your desires without becoming entangled in reactions of sense gratificatory work. Okay? Impure karma yoga. And then if there is impure karma yoga, there has to be something pure karma yoga, no?
Can you repeat impure karma yoga?
Impure karma yoga is doing yajnas according to Vedic system.
Okay,
impure karma yoga is doing actions linked with God. How they are linked with God? You are following the prescribed method given by God, like yajna, to fulfill your desires. Because you have desires, that's why it's impure.
Okay. Material desires.
Yeah, material desires. Even desire for peace and happiness, that's also desire. That's also impure karma yoga. Okay. And then there is pure karma yoga. If you don't understand this thing, impure karma yoga, you will never understand what Prabhupada is writing in this purport. Prabhupada is going back and forth. Okay, now let's read the next line. Let's continue the purport. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own efforts but on background arrangement of Supreme Lord. Got it?
Yes.
Directly carried out by demigods. Therefore, yajnas are directly aimed at particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, so generally in Vedic yajnas you have demigods and Vishnu. It's not just demigods and Vishnu, both. Indirectly, now this line is important, 316. Indirectly, it is practice of Krishna consciousness. Because when one masters performance of yajna, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajna, one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes. See? So indirectly, impure karma yoga is practice of pure karma yoga. Krishna conscious is pure karma yoga. Pure karma yoga, where you work for Krishna without any desires. Is it?
Yes.
So that is why Prabhupada translates karma yoga as bhakti yoga. Pure karma yoga is bhakti yoga. Simple? Yeah. Simple. Without desires you work for Krishna, that is bhakti. Simple. Because how do you work without desires for Krishna? How do you do that? By love. There is no other way. If you want to work for somebody without desires, why do you work? There is just one way. If you love him, then only you will work without desires. If you don't love him, it's impossible to work for anybody without desires. Is it?
True.
It cannot happen, no? That is why pure karma yoga is bhakti yoga. And that is why Prabhupada translates karma yoga as bhakti yoga. Prabhupada is not speculating. Prabhupada scholars are foolish. They are scholars, that's why they can't understand. They are not practicing. They don't know what's happening. So, that is why in this chapter you will see, sometimes Prabhupada translates karma yoga as yajnas, varnashram. Varnashram means, varnashram in the sense of with desires people do. Vedic codes and varnashram in the sense of moral codes, following moral codes. Sometimes Prabhupada translates like that. Sometimes Prabhupada translates karma yoga as devotional service. You see? So you have to understand according to the context. Mostly Prabhupada takes karma yoga as devotional service. Because ultimately, when you are doing yajnas system, then that is indirectly practice of devotional service. Now there is an example for that. There was one Chandidas, you know Chandidas?
Naam suna.
Chandidas. He was a big. He wrote songs for Krishna. So he was worshipper for Chandi previously.
Oh, Chandi Devi.
Chandi Devi. He was worshipper. So so to fulfill his desires, he was worshipping Chandi. But he was good. He didn't have really desires, but he was, because his Nana, his tradition family was worshipping Chandi, he was doing that. So that's like Karma Yoga. He's doing action according to scriptures to fulfill his desires. He's worshipping Chandi. He knew Vishnu is supreme, but he did Chandi because he wants to fulfill desires. So, but then at the so many years he worshipped, like 30, 40 years. After 40 years he prayed to Chandi, please give me moksha. And then Chandi appeared. She said, I cannot give you moksha. Vishnu can give. So then he said, why did you waste my time? Like 40 years I have been serving you and you didn't tell me. She told you didn't ask me. You were after desires. So if you were after desires, then you are following according to Vedas, this system, you are worshipping me and I am fulfilling desires. What's the problem? But then she told, but no problem, don't weep. You don't waste time. Because I trained you how to serve a superior person. And with this same training, you serve Krishna. And your life will become perfect. So you don't waste time in training. I trained you like that. You see? So impure Karma Yoga is indirectly practice of pure Karma Yoga. Now, you don't need to go through this impure Karma Yoga. Chandidasi, you wasted my time now. That's the point. If you can take directly to pure Karma Yoga, why do you want? Yes. Krishna will train you. Why do you want to go like that? He also has a system of training. So impure Karma Yoga for those people who cannot come directly to pure Karma Yoga. Prabhupada writes in the purport for sense gratification. But people who can come directly to pure Karma Yoga by association of devotees should directly come. Simple. And in this Kali Yuga, impure Karma Yoga is not prescribed. Because life is very short. You keep on doing that and you die. You never come to pure Karma Yoga. You never come to devotional service. It's not prescribed. Forget it. So that's why we preach only pure Karma Yoga. That is why Prabhupada translates Karma Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. Because pure Karma Yoga is Bhakti Yoga. He doesn't take that impure and pure. He doesn't go like that. It is not prescribed for this age. That is why Prabhupada never mentions here about Sakam Karma Yoga. Impure Karma Yoga is Sakam Karma Yoga. Sakam with desires. Either you say impure Karma Yoga or Sakam Karma Yoga. He never brings that point up here. Sakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam, which other acharyas are mentioning. That's not required in this age. There's no time. You directly take to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, people are never going to come to impure Karma Yoga. Once they are given this option of fulfilling their desires through Vedas, they will never leave that option. Is it?
But they are so attached.
They are so attached. You don't have sinful reactions, fulfilling desires. What is good, better than this, So you see why Prabhupada is not actually going through that system. Yoga ladder, Sakam, Nishkam. Although it is taught in ISKCON many courses, but that's not required because Prabhupada is not doing that. And Prabhupada knows why he's not doing that. Prabhupada knows why he's translating Karma Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. So you understand? So we have karma, which materialistic people are doing. You have impure Karma Yoga, which other people who follow yagyas and all those previously. And then you have pure Karma Yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga, simple. Doing action for Krishna without desires, that's Bhakti Yoga.
But when we do Bhakti Yoga, then also Krishna fulfills our material desires?
No, he will not fulfill. He will
maintains us, so that is a material...
No. Material desires means you want matter. Okay. We don't want. He fulfills from his own accord. That's a different thing. No?
Okay.
But these people want.
Want it, okay. Now I can see the difference.
Yeah. So, this purport is very important, 3:16. Don't forget this. Chapter 3:16th verse. To understand this concept, this is very important. So, if you meet any devotee who says, Bhagavad Gita says about yoga ladder, Sakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, this, say it's not required. Prabhupada doesn't mention that. Prabhupada just mentions very little in one of the purport, but he doesn't use that system to translate his Bhagavad Gita. Because you will meet people who have done courses, it's not required, and you quote this. And then you tell why Prabhupada is taking Karma Yoga as devotional service. Why he is doing that? Then you can explain.
Right.
All those things. Okay.
Directly take the left.
Yeah. Prabhupada says, why? And why do you want to complicate things? Not even complicate. This is not required. That system is not applicable to this age.
Right.
See? So that this purport is important. Okay. So, and now, you have understood everything in this chapter. You can read everything. But there is a problem here. When Krishna says, okay, do karma yoga, do pure karma yoga, that is bhakti yoga, work for me, do action for me, action, book distribution, preaching, whatever service you want to do for me. For Arjuna, service is to fight. But Arjuna has a question. Arjuna says, okay Krishna, you are asking me to act for you without desires, in love with you, as a service to you. I understand that. It's cool, simple. But the problem is, I am not pure. I still have desires, no? See? You are asking me, you should work without desires for me. That is bhakti yoga, pure karma yoga. But I am impure.
We have desires.
So how to follow that pure system, although I am impure? See, now a contradiction has come. You see, there's a problem there. Because my mind will force me to desire.
Yeah.
But you are asking, you purely serve me, pure karma yoga, bhakti yoga. But that's not possible. What to do? So that Arjuna asks question in this, at the last of the chapter. You come to 336. Third chapter, 36th verse. See, Arjuna asks simple question. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichan api varshnya baladeva niyojita. Arjuna said, oh, the ascensions of Vrishni, by what one is impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. See? You are following a pure system, pure karma yoga, but unwillingly, you are forced by desires. Now, why we are forced and how to overcome this? Why you have to overcome these desires? To follow the process nicely, pure karma yoga. Right. Otherwise you can't follow. And this is a valid question now. Right. So, what Krishna answers? Let's see the answer for Krishna. Because this is important for all of us, no? It is happening with us. So, now, let's see the answer. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, third chapter, 37th verse, I am reading. Kamesha krodesha rajoguna samudva mahashano mahapapma viddhiyenam yavairinam. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with material mode of passion, later transformed into wrath, which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. Now, this section, this question is, if you want to retranslate this question, in other words, many people ask, how to advance in Krishna consciousness. I want to practice purely, but I cannot. That's the usual question, no? I'm chanting, but my mind is out of control. All those questions answered in this is there. So anybody asks this question, Prabhu, how to advance? I'm disturbed, my mind is disturbed. Simple. You say, okay, Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. All these shlokas, this is a section you should refer. So I'm just telling from the point of view of preaching. If somebody asks you this question, this is what you have to open. Okay, so what Krishna says it is lust only, which forces you to act even if you don't want to act. That is lust prevents you from following pure karma yoga. And that is why you should conquer lust. You should not conquer lust because you want to conquer lust. That's wrong. Okay. You should conquer lust because it is an obstacle in my service. They are two different things. Yogis and jnanis conquer lust because they want to conquer. They want to feel powerful, no? Yes, I am powerful. But devotees have nothing to do with power and success. Devotees have to do with serving Krishna. And whatever is obstacle in serving Krishna, we want to get rid of it. That's why Krishna says, first get rid of this lust. It is a major obstacle in my service. Now, but the question is how to get rid of it. That's the question. So Krishna says in 38th verse, Krishna says, 3rd chapter, 38th verse, as fire is covered by smoke, as mirror is covered by dust, as embryo is covered by womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. Now Krishna gives this example of smoke, dust and womb. So different people have different coverings of
thickness
of lust. So like Prabhupada gives here, trees are in full, they are fully covered, their consciousness is covered by lust. So they are just standing in one place. Beast, so that example, womb is covered. Womb, baby in the womb, it cannot move, no? It is fixed, like trees. Soul in the trees, they cannot move. They are fixed. They're covered, their consciousness covered. There's so much desires that Krishna says, okay, become trees. That's a punishment for you. You'll not be able to move. And then next is mirror covered by dust. So dust can be wiped off. So that is animals. Animals, Prabhupada gives example of animals and beast. Their consciousness is covered. So until unless you don't remove the dust, it is there. And it keep on accumulating, is it? It keep on accumulating. So animals are like that. They have desires. You can't explain them anything. Nothing can be done. But then you have smoke covered, fire covered with smoke. That is humans. Because smoke itself goes out, no? After some time. So humans have the opportunity to understand God. If you have smoke, you can't see anything. And when smoke goes out, then you can see. Is it?
Right.
So fire is like devotional spark. It is there in all of us. But because we have smoke of material desires, we can't see. But this smoke can go out. And there are always chances to see the goal. Human life can afford you the opportunity to see clearly the goal, which other species cannot. Prabhupada gives 3 examples of covered by lust. This is one way he explains. Another way he explains is, for all of us, he says new devotees are like no overt manifestation of fire in early stage. Right? This stage is like beginning of Krishna consciousness. So fire covered by smoke is a stage like beginning of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada writes in purport.
Yeah.
You see last line?
Yes. Yeah.
Of the purport? Last line of the purport, just last line. 3rd chapter, 38th verse.
Yeah, it is.
No. So sorry.
Middle of it.
Middle. Last line of the page. Last line of the page. Of that purport, previous page.
Oh, okay. Last line. Same way.
This stage is like beginning of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, although there is fire necessary, there is smoke, there is no overt manifestation of an early stage.
This stage is like beginning of Krishna consciousness. So fire covered by smoke is like beginning of Krishna consciousness. That is beginning. When smoke clears, then you advance. Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. And so Krishna is explaining about different degrees of lust. And then, but the question is same now, how to get rid of lust. That's the point here. Now, he doesn't now offer a solution. He'll come to that solution. Okay. Now you go forward and you come here. 40th verse. Now Krishna says, if you want to get rid of lust, you should know where this resides. It's enemy, no?
Yes.
So he says, the senses, mind, intelligence are sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers real knowledge of living entity and bewilders him. So this is where enemy resides. Senses, mind and intelligence. All 3 places it has conquered. This is a fort. It has conquered the fort. And we are trapped inside. That's what. So what to do? Should we first attack senses, mind or intelligence? Where should we attack? It has conquered all the strategic points. Where should we attack first?
Start with senses.
Good, why? Why not mind? Why not intelligence?
Mind receives information from senses.
So, yeah. Why? Because you see, there's a rule. If you have a war, there's a rule. If you have enemy, you try to find the weakest spot and attack there. Then you can enter the army. That's intelligence. So if there's a so you have that chakra view. So find the weakest spot, enter, destroy, come out. So what is the weakest? Senses, mind, or intelligence? Senses are the weakest. Mind is very strong. You can't find with mind. Mind is having God-like power, Krishna says in Bhagavatam. It can mess you up. Intelligence is okay. Mind is very strong. Intelligence is okay, strong, little stronger than mind.
Intelligence is stronger.
Is stronger than mind, but now it has become weak. Our intelligence become weak, no? Because we don't have scriptural intelligence. It's weak. So, and senses are the most weak. Most weak. They succumb to mind and intelligence. They're weak, no? So, attack senses first. That's why Krishna mentions in 41. Therefore, Arjuna, text 41, 341. Therefore, Arjuna, best of Bharat, in the very beginning, curb the great symbol of this sin by regulating the senses. Slayer, destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. Start from senses. And how to attack senses? By rules and regulations. And that is why following rules and regulations is very important. Yesterday I also told you.
Yes.
Again Krishna is coming to this point. If we don't follow rules and regulations, we lose this battle. We're going to lose this battle, definitely. So you can't afford to break rules and regulations. It's impossible. You know what about this? Somebody asked Prabhupada, when should I miss Mangal Aarti? Is any day? You know this? Anyone dead? And in fact, Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur in his Gaudiya Math, whenever somebody used to get fever, like Bhaktivedanta used to say, okay, bring him here in Mangal Aarti with the bed. They used to bring with the bed, and keep it there. He must attend Krishna's Mangal Aarti, because when he comes in front of Krishna, Krishna's merciful glance will cure him. He's sitting in his room. So he never allowed anybody to transgress rules and regulations, because that is important. Otherwise you don't conquer this enemy, lust. And lust is not conquered, desires are not conquered. If desires are not conquered, you can't follow pure karma yoga purely.
Right.
It is bhakti yoga.
Connected.
It's connected, everything is connected. So start with senses, okay, fine. Follow rules and regulations. That's the first thing he mentions. Now next thing what you should do is, 42nd shlok, Krishna says, working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than senses. Why mind is higher than senses? Because senses are dead. Mind can think. No? Mind is the center of senses, no? And intelligence is still higher than mind. Why? Because intelligence can take decisions. Mind cannot take decisions. So, function of mind is sankalp vikalp. Mind thinks. Intelligence decides. Who is superior? Decision is superior, no? Mind can just think, I should go or not. Intelligence will give decision. And higher than intelligence is soul. Why? Tell me, why higher than intelligence is soul?
Because it's a part of Krishna.
So you have to develop the logic.
Okay.
Senses are just taking information.
Okay.
Mind is thinking about information. That is why it is higher. Intelligence giving decision about that thought. That is why it is much higher. What soul is doing?
Soul is deciding whether to follow that decision or not. To accept the decision or reject the decision.
Okay, soul is giving the basis of that decision. How to decide? On what basis you should decide? Intelligence decide, but what is the basis of decision now? You see, and the basis of decision is soul is giving. Soul says intelligence, okay, you decide this thing. How you should decide? What's the parameter of decision? Any decision which is obstructive to service of Krishna, reject.
Reject.
Any decision which is favorable to service, accept. It's providing the basis of that decision. So it is higher. CEO, manager and employers now. So mind is like employers, employee, employers. Employers do not know what to do. No? They are just commanded. Do this. Okay, what to do they are thinking. So manager says do this. Intelligence like manager. Mind is like employer. And soul is like CEO. Okay, he tells manager, you decide, I'll give you a plan to decide, and you decide on this basis.
Like employees.
Senses are like instruments. Mind is like employee. They're like instruments. That you're using. That's all. To get information.
Subcontractors.
Yeah, maybe subcontractor something. So this is a scheme.
Yeah.
Okay, but why Krishna is telling this? Why? First strategy he said, start following rules and regulations. But that's not enough. That's the point. Following rules and regulations is not in itself everything. You have to understand. One thing you have understood, you have to follow. If anybody is following rules and regulations very nicely, still he's not perfect. You have to add something. That is why he's coming to another point. Krishna is developing his logic. Okay, you are following rules and regulations. But what about mind and intelligence? Still lust is riding there, no? Now what to do with them? You have conquered some strategic point. Now you have to attack. How about to do? So you come to the purport of this verse.
Which verse?
Here only 342. And you see the second paragraph of this purport. 3rd chapter, 42nd verse, purport, 2nd paragraph. And Prabhupada says, when intelligence has to seek out constitutional position of soul and then engage the mind always in Krishna consciousness. So intelligence decides what mind has to think. Intelligence decides, says, okay, you think about Krishna and his service. Pure karma yoga, is it? And that basis is given by soul. That solves the whole problem. A neophyte spiritualist is generally advised to keep aloof from object of senses. But aside from that, one has to strengthen the mind by the use of intelligence. This is very important. We strengthen the mind by the use of intelligence. So the next thing you should do is, after you follow rules and regulations, the next thing you do is, you use your intelligence. Second step. Just don't limit yourself to following rules and regulations. Use your intelligence. How to use intelligence? You should take scriptural intelligence. Scriptures provide you the basis of why to follow rules. That's the next step. Try to understand why you are following what you are following. And provide this logic to mind. Because if simply you follow rules and regulations, mind will revolt. I don't want. Why are you after me? So that's function of intelligence. Intelligence will provide the logic of following rules and regulations to mind. So that's what Prabhupada says. One has to strengthen mind by use of intelligence. Strengthening mind means providing logic for following rules and regulations. Now you understand?
Yeah.
So one of the logic of following rules and regulations, we saw in 2nd chapter. Rules and regulations will allow you, will force you not to think about anything except Krishna. We saw that Dhyayata Visham Pumsa. So that's the use of intelligence. You have to strengthen your mind by providing logic. So people who just follow rules and regulations and they don't try to understand why they are following, they'll fall down after some time. Even though they might follow perfectly. That's the point.
That's the point, yeah.
Or they'll become fanatic. They'll fall down. You're bound to fall down. So if by intelligence one engages mind in Krishna conscious by complete surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically the mind becomes stronger. Even though senses are very strong like serpents, they will not be effective and serpents with broken fang. But even though soul is master of intelligence and mind, senses also, still unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna and Krishna conscious, there is every chance of falling down due to agitated mind. So you have to strengthen mind by using intelligence, and you have to strengthen soul by association with Krishna. See? Unless soul is strengthened by association with Krishna, there is every chance of falling down due to agitation of mind. See? So how do you strengthen soul? By association with Krishna. How do you give association of Krishna to soul? By chanting. Yeah, chanting Krishna's name. So you see whole program. You follow rules and regulations. To conquer this enemy of lust, you follow rules and regulations. and then by intelligence you take knowledge by which you provide logic why you should follow rules and regulations, and then you chant Hare Krishna to strengthen your soul. Because when you chant Hare Krishna, you strengthen soul, you become connected to Krishna, and then the soul can provide the basis of decision to intelligence, how you have to decide. So you have a whole program. That's what Prabhupada said. Follow rules and regulation, chant Hare Krishna, associate with devotees, and take knowledge. This is the basis. No, this is everything is coming from Gita. This is science behind that. Why we are doing this program? Somebody asks you why we are chanting, why we are following rules and regulations. Okay, come, let's discuss 3rd chapter and this section, 36 to whatever, 42 verses. And then Krishna finishes this chapter, 43rd verse. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, thus by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. You have conquered it. That's all. So then you get situated in yourself. Slowly that realization comes. I told by Karma Yoga realization comes. Realization comes your soul. Once you realize your soul, nothing can affect you. You have disengaged yourself. You have conquered this enemy of lust. And why you have conquered the enemy of lust? What was the agenda? Why you wanted to conquer it? To follow pure Karma Yoga. That is to follow pure Karma Yoga. That's the point. That is why this is ending here. What is pure Karma Yoga? Bhakti Yoga. Simple, finished. Now you can read this chapter, you will understand everything.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So, 2 things are left.
Yeah.
One thing, something is called as Karma Kand.
Karma Kand, yes.
I told about Karma Yoga, Karma, impure Karma Yoga, pure Karma Yoga. Pure Karma is normal materialistic activities. Impure Karma Yoga is yagyas and all those with desires. Pure Karma Yoga is Bhakti Yoga. Now something is called as Karma Kand. Karma Kand is, Kand you understand? Kand is Ghotala. Kand. So many Kand are happening. Political, there's some politics involved. So Karma Kand means actually there's some Ghotala. So when you do Ghotala in Karma Yoga, that is Karma Kand. In other words, Karma Kand means...
Which Karma Yoga now? Now there are 2 Karma Yogas that we have understood.
Yeah, any Karma Yoga. When you do Ghotala in Karma Yoga,
okay,
any of them, that is Karma Kand. That means you're using Vedic things. You're using Vedic things to fulfill your desires.
Right.
So you're doing Ghotala in impure Karma. Okay, impure Karma Yoga.
It's impure. Okay.
Impure Karma Yoga, you do Ghotala. What you do? You follow the same system of impure Karma Yoga to fulfill your desires.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't accept Vishnu.
In Karma Kand, we don't accept Vishnu.
No, they don't accept Vishnu. Why they don't accept Vishnu? These Pandits, all these Pandits, they are Karma Kandi, no? They accept Vishnu, but they don't accept Vishnu as God. They think that God is also under karmas. If we do this yagya, he has to give us benefits. He is not beyond karmas. He is not independent. In impure Karma Yoga, devotees understand Vishnu is God. If he wants to give, he'll give. If he doesn't want to give, he doesn't want to give. No. That's why you define God as independent. But the definition of God is different. They don't take Vishnu as God. Because what kind of God you conceive who is under laws of karma? He's not God. They might say Vishnu is God, but they don't mean that. That is called Ghotala. They are doing Ghotala, which ordinary people cannot understand. Ghotala people cannot understand. No? What's that? Chara Ghotala? What's that? So many Ghotala. Ordinary people, what's happening? And it's a scam. It's a scam. So externally it might look as impure Karma Yoga. Externally it might look as something Vedic. But actually it is nonsense. That is why all these Pandits who read from BHE and all those, they are Karma Kandi. And if you follow Karma Kand, you go to hell.
But do they succeed in their Karma Kand? Otherwise, why would people go to them?
Huh?
Do they succeed in their...
Yeah, they get some benefits. Why? Because even though they are doing Ghotala, but still they get the credit of following Vedic system. The fact they are following Vedic system Krishna gives him something, a shadow of their desires.
Okay.
And that's pretty much, but then they get offense also, they go to hell.
Okay.
So that's the point here. So that's karma kand, to keep in mind. So that is a different thing. That's one thing you have to remember. So we have 4 things, no? Karma kand, impure karma yoga, pure karma yoga. Pure karma yoga is bhakti yoga, remember. So that's one thing. Another thing is you have to remember 2 verses in this chapter, which are very important. We should not forget these 2 verses. One is this verse, 2nd chapter. Third chapter and 21st verse. Just open that and you will know that. 3rd chapter, 21st verse. This you must remember always. Edat achariti shreshtas tatta devataro jana set pramanam kurute lokatas anuvartate. This is the answer to, if somebody asks you the question that who is a good leader? This is the answer to that.
Okay.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. Whatever standards he set by exemplary act, all word pursues. This is important for us, for preachers. If you want to preach, you have to show. You can't just speak. Now what's that? Showing is better than saying.
Action is better than...
Yeah, actions are louder than words. So that's very important for preachers, for leaders. Prabhupada used to quote a lot this thing, and at least personally we should remember, because this chapter is talking about karma, action, no. So we should, what we say we should do, what we do we should say, otherwise we become hypocrite. And that is where this verse is very important, because in your mind you can have all nonsense, but still you are posing as devotee. That's a bad thing. Be okay, fine, we are trying, we can say. We are trying, we are not perfect. Let us be clear, everybody is trying. We want to get rid of desires. We are fighting with it. We are not entertaining it like materialistic people. Materialistic people entertain. We also have desires, but we don't entertain them. There's a difference. There's a difference. We are trying to get rid of it. So, okay, fine. That's okay. So there's this important. And the another verse which is important is this last thing. Here. 3rd chapter, 13th verse. And this is Yagya Shishtina Santo Muchante Sarvakil Vishaya Bhunte. Devotees of Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Now this verse is important for us because, why? Because first we have to offer food and then take, otherwise sin. But this goes much deeper than that. Krishna says, whatever is not offered to me, that's sin. If you eat. Now how do we eat? We just don't eat food. We eat by eyes also.
How's that?
Yeah, by eyes we eat form. By ears we eat sound. That's also called eating. Eating means taking. By mouth we eat food. So Krishna says, whatever you don't offer to me, that is sin. If you see something, and if after seeing in your heart you do not offer to me, you are in sin. It's not just food. Remember. So we are in a continuous yagya. There's super soul. And we are offering everything. If you see something beautiful, in the heart devotee says, Krishna, this is for you. In your service. This is not for me. So, once Prabhupada went to a museum, and in that museum, there were all photos of naked females. And Prabhupada was saying, wow. And all sannyasis, what's happening? And then they asked after Prabhupada, what is this? Prabhupada says, see, these are the most beautiful girls in entire world. And I was thinking that their beauty is for Krishna, not for us. They're so beautiful. Krishna, they should be engaged like gopis in Krishna service. See? So he's offering. He's not eating by his eyes.
Right.
He's giving to Krishna. That's the meaning. So this verse is very important from that respect.
Okay. That's a new angle.
Yeah, of course, that's a new angle.
Paradigm shift.
Okay, so that's what is pretty much in 3rd chapter. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Otherwise we'll stop here.
Hare Krishna. So
Places say surrender to him. Like Tameva Sharanam Gacha.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
You're right. Well,
yeah, it looks like he's referring to somebody else.
Okay. This question might come later. We'll handle this question when other chapters come. But I don't think so. In this chapter, Krishna didn't say like that. So we'll take up this question later, probably. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so anybody wants to ask any other question? Otherwise, we'll stop here.
Yeah, yes. Prabhu, I got a question from one Mataji yesterday on this. Like, is there any chance can we take others' sinful or suffering to us? Like, I can suffer behalf of them like that. She asked this question.
Well, this is nobody can suffer on anybody's behalf. That's wrong. Nobody can take anybody's sinful reaction. Everybody has to suffer his own actions and reactions. Husband, wife, they also don't share. It's all separate accounts for separate living entities. Nobody shares anything. And only by devotional service we can get rid of sinful reactions. There is no other way. That's pretty much clear.
Okay, Prabhu. But with our prayers, can we ask God, our intensity prayers, reduce their sufferings?
Well, okay. You asked me this question whether we can ask to reduce their sufferings. Well, we can pray for them that that Krishna give them devotional service. So as I mean to say, we should be intelligent to ask prayers. We are asking God, and we can't ask twice. So let's ask one thing. So if you ask relieve their sufferings, then the next question Krishna will ask how. That's the point, So why do you give a chance to ask Krishna to you? Better ask Krishna, give them devotional service. Automatically their sufferings will be finished, because devotional service will finish all their sufferings. So that's the best prayer. If we want to pray that entire world should become Krishna consciousness. Whoever your friend, and if they're suffering, let them be connected to Krishna, and then Krishna will take care of them. That's the best prayer. That's okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna.